again, this is again Michael. Let me make sure I have his name right. Michael Gunner. Yeah, he's the Northern Territory of Australia chief minister. So let's just know what they have up their sleeve here, if you don't mind.
Ask yourself these 3 questions. In my work, do I come into contact with vulnerable people? Is my workplace at a higher risk of infection? Do I work on infrastructure or logistics that are critical to the territory? If your answer is maybe, or I don't know, you need to get the jab. Critically, the direction also applies to industries who directly face customers in circumstances where the worker may not know the vulnerability of the person they are interacting with.
All right, so just basically as he's breaking this down, this is a long about way of basically saying fucking everybody. If you don't live in a fucking bunker, fucking everybody.
So it is simple. If your job includes interacting with members of the public, then you need to get the jab. If you work in hospitality, you need to get the jab. If you work in retail or in a supermarket, you need to get the jab. If you are behind the counter at the bank, if you're a receptionist or positions like that, you need to get the jab. If you are a barber, a hairdresser, a beauty therapist, you need to get the jab. All these workers and many, many more directly interact with members of the public. That means you are frontline workers in our economy. That means you must be vaccinated. Of course, there can be exemptions, but these are extremely narrow and must be backed up with medical evidence. Simply not wanting the vaccine is not a reason. Today,
look, the way this man is talking, and I will continue on in a minute. I cannot emphasize this more. The way this man talks, he's speaking as if he controls you and your body. And he's doing it so easily. Now, to the brain that likes to listen to these types, they think that their sort of legitimate tyrannical bullshit, authoritarianism, is worth it, or justified rather. Therefore, they think it's not, because it's about saving the lives of other people, right? They know what's best for you, and they want to make decisions on your behalf, and they legitimize these threats of violence, essentially, with suggesting that they're doing it to help other people. I just need to remind you that throughout the course of recent modern history, so if you take from the start, like 1900 even, and you look at the millions upon millions of people that have been killed by their governments, y'all need to understand that a lot of those would be acts of democides, government-induced cost famines, great leap forwards, Pol Pot killing like fucking a quarter of his damn population. It was all in the name of trying to help other people. That was how they sold it. Every single one. That's how they sold it. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to equal up the deaths of millions of people. I sure as fuck hope not. But they certainly are leading in charge of treating folks like second-class folk because of their vaccination status when it comes to COVID. But the way this man is speaking is basically saying you are not allowed. And imagine one person dictating this on behalf of thousands or, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people. Where they say, we control you, we control your body, and if you are going to exist, no matter how voluntary it may be, you must do what we want you to do and inject this shit into your body. I don't care where you are on the subject of vaccination. That's fucked up. And you're a bad person. You present yourself as if you're great. And even when we know how this virus works, such as these, it not being able to, the CDC, for example, has already conceded that it doesn't stop transmission. So at this point, the only person that you will be putting at a threat is yourself. That's it. Because you can still get the jab and still fucking pass it. You see places like Singapore who have high vaccination rates and they have higher cases than what they ever fucking had. So all they're wanting to do right now, effectively, is punish you. That's it. It's about punishing people that didn't do what they wanted them to do. It has nothing to do with saving lives. because it's not the government's job, or anybody's job for that matter, to try to save you from your fucking self. But you listen to the man speak with so much confidence and arrogance, more so than confidence, more arrogance, that he's saying, we own you and we own your body, and you need to do what we tell you to do. Let's finish this out.
We're also announcing the date from which this mandate comes into effect. From Saturday, the 13th of November, if you have not received at least your first dose of a vaccine, you will not be permitted to attend your workplace in that role, and a failure to comply with the direction is a $5,000 fine. That means that workers must have received at least their first dose by Friday, the 12th of November, at the latest. You have 30 days.
Like, imagine, again, how much confidence he's saying this. And, of course, there unfortunately are Australians that agree with this and agree with what he's doing. You've heard that before. There's a lot of guys out there trying to fight the good fight, severely outnumbered because, well, hey, government has what's in our best interest, so we do what they tell us to do. This man's talking about fining you, and you know fines are threats. Let's just call it what it is, a fucking threat. It's pay it or we coming to fucking bust you upside the head. That's how a fine fucking works. And he's giving you an ultimatum if you live in these areas that you can't even fucking work. So your livelihood, fuck that. If you do regular things that regular people do and you don't get the jab by this date, we're gonna, you got to pay up. And if you don't pay up, we're going to bust you upside the head. That's what a fine is. I just want to be clear. It's a coercion tactic. But if you don't do it, when people talk about, it's not a threat, you have an option to comply or you just get, no. How a fucking fine works when dealing with the government is that if you don't pay it, they get to bust you upside the head. That's how it works. That's how it works. I feel for my folks that are out there in Australia that are, have assessed the risk and they have said that this is not something that they wanted to do. And meanwhile, you have this territorial monopoly on use of force, violence, and ultimate decision-making called the state, who thinks that they own you and your body and should make decisions on your behalf because you don't get the right to do that. These people are fucking insane. These people are little demons, if you will. They're bad people and they're pieces of shit. And I feel for y'all out there in Australia because you're going back to your roots in being a fucking prison colony. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Cannon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcannonsake.com.